Mark Zuckerberg is one of the richest men in the world, with a net worth of around $60 billion. If you worked a job where you made $15 per hour for 40 hours per week, it would take you 2 million years to earn that much money. But how did a guy who didn't even finish college build one of the biggest companies in America and become a billionaire? This is 5-Minute Stories. Mark Zuckerberg grew up in White Plains, New York, just north of New York City. His parents were not extremely wealthy, but his father ran a dental practice and his mother was a psychiatrist, so they were not struggling for money by any means. From a young age, Mark had an interest in computers. When he was only 12 years old, he created a messaging program that his father used to communicate in his dental practice. He called it ZuckNet. It was obvious at this point that there was something special about Mark Zuckerberg. In order to feed his passion for computers, Mark's parents hired a private tutor to teach him more. This tutor would later admit that it was hard to keep up with Mark. At the time, Mark was taking graduate courses in computer science, even though he was only in middle school. When it was time for him to go to high school, his parents sent him to Phillips Exeter Academy, one of the most prestigious high schools in the country. Here, Mark picked up fencing and became the captain of the school's fencing team. After graduating from high school, Mark attended Harvard University, where he quickly became the school's premier software developer. He created a program that helps students choose their classes based on classes that others had chosen in the past. He also created a controversial website that put the faces of two random Harvard students side by side and allowed you to vote on who was more attractive. This website became wildly popular on campus before it was shut down by the school for being inappropriate. Even after this shutdown, it seemed nothing could stop Mark Zuckerberg and his hunger for creating new, innovative programs. A group of ambitious students on campus noticed Mark's ability and asked him to help them develop a new social networking site for Harvard students, the Harvard Connection. Mark worked on this project for a while before leaving and creating the Facebook. The Facebook allowed Harvard students to have their own profile pages, upload pictures, and connect with others online. Originally, this website was only for Harvard students, but it quickly expanded to other Ivy League schools and changed its name to Facebook. In 2004, while in his sophomore year, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard to work on Facebook full-time. He continued to run the company out of a dorm room until the end of 2004, when he moved the company to Palo Alto, California. By this time, the website had over 1 million users. In 2005, Mark expanded the website to include students from more universities and high schools. By the end of 2005, Facebook had over 5 million users. The company received $12.7 million from a venture capital firm and continued growing. It looked like nothing could go wrong for Mark Zuckerberg. As it turns out though, something did go wrong. In 2006, the students that were working on the social networking site with Mark before Facebook filed a lawsuit against him. They claimed that Mark had stolen their idea and demanded compensation for the lost business. In the lawsuit, it was revealed that Mark may indeed have stolen intellectual property from the students to create Facebook. The students and Mark reached a settlement of $65 million. Facebook continued to grow for the rest of the decade, and in 2012, the company had its initial public offering, or IPO, on the stock market. This IPO raised $16 billion in one of the largest IPOs in history. The stock went up dramatically over the years since 2012, and in 2021, it reached its peak, leaving the value of Meta, the parent company of Facebook, with a valuation of over $1 trillion. The stock has fallen since then as user growth has slowed, but Facebook remains a massively valuable company with Mark Zuckerberg at the helm. Even though Mark Zuckerberg is a self-made billionaire, one has to consider the impact that the wealth and wisdom of his parents had on his future. His parents were able to support their prodigy of a son with all the resources he needed: a private tutor, the best education, and expensive equipment. They also instilled in him the work ethic that he would need to go on to run a trillion-dollar company. In a recent interview with Joe Rogan, Mark said that his parents set the expectation that he would excel in his studies and play on 3 varsity sports teams in high school. Mark's parents expected great things from him, and they had the resources to support him in his hunt for greatness. Ultimately, the billionaire Mark Zuckerberg we know today would not exist without the help of his supportive parents.